Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, my name is Rahmawati Junita. I am student of Pancasakti University. I am from English Education Program. Now, I am in semester 1. Okay, on this occasion, I will present my mid-semester exam assessment from Introduction Linguistic, with the title is morphology. Okay, let's just start with the definition of morphology. Okay, the first material is the definition of morphology. I want to explain to you all about what is morphology. Morphology is a field of linguistic focus on the study of the form and formation of word in language. And word in language consists of the elements or meaning which are called morphemes. So, what is morphemes? Morphemes is the smallest unit of meaning of grammatical function, and a single word may be composed of one or more morphemes. For example, about morphemes is Budi unspoken about the story hymn. Sentence in unspoken, this is morphemes. In another definition, morphology is the branch of linguistics and one of the major components of grammar that studies word structure, especially regarding morphemes, which are the smallest units of language. They can be base words of components that form words, such as affix, the adjective from its morphological. And another definition of morphemes is a morpheme is the smallest meaningful lexical item in a language. A morpheme is not necessarily the same as a word. The main difference between a morpheme and a word is that a morpheme sometimes does not stand alone, but a word, by definition, always stands alone. The field of linguistic study dedicated to morphemes is called morphology. Well, that was the definition of morphology and morphemes. The next one is morphemes. The morphemes themselves are divided into two. This is free morphemes and bond morphemes. Free morpheme is basic word form, and bond morphemes is prefix and suffix. So, definition of free morphemes is a free morpheme is a morpheme of word element that can stand alone as a word. It is also called an unbound morpheme or a freestanding morpheme. A free morpheme is the opposite of a bound morpheme, a word element that can stand alone and as a word. A commonly used as a word alone or stand alone. Word form such nouns, verb, and adjective. For example, is baby, son, mother, father, wife, humble, and etc. Many words in English consists of a single free morpheme. For example, each word in the following sentence is a distinct morpheme. This example sentence is, I need to go now, but you can stay. Put another way, none of the 9 words in the sentence can be divided into smaller parts that are also meaningful. There are 2 basic kinds of free morphemes: contents words and function words. The next is definition of bond morphemes. A bond morpheme is a word element that cannot stand alone as a word, including both prefix and suffix. Free morphemes, by contrast, can stand alone as a word and cannot be broken down further in the other word element. For example, is unspoken. Unspoken. Uns is prefix bond. Spoke is stem free, and an is suffix bond. And bond morphemes is morpheme which cannot accord their own as independent word. They are general prefix and suffix like ra, its, as in the word reprint, typist and talker and voice, for example, and are attached to other forms which are described as stems basic word form. Attaching a bond morpheme to a free morpheme, such as by adding the prefix ra to the verb star, creates a new word or adds a new form of a word. In this case, restar. So from sentence star to and added ra in the prefix. Rest present in sound and writing by word segment called morphs. Bond morphemes can further be broken down into 2 categories: derivational and inflectional morphemes. Hundreds of bond morphemes exist in the English language, creating near infinite possibilities for expanding on bond morphemes, commonly referred to as words, by attaching this element to pre-existing word. Next, now is definition of the free morphemes. Free morphemes is divided to, there is lexical morphemes and functional morphemes. Lexical morphemes, the definition is set of ordinary nouns, verbs, and adjectives that carry our contents of message we convey. Since we can add new lexical morphemes to the language, we call this morpheme open class word. For example is follow, type, jacket, bag, etc. Okay? Or in short, lexical morphemes, namely the actual meaning, which is a unit of verb, nouns, and adjective, or we can call the vocabulary. Next is functional morpheme. the class of words which consists large of functional words in a language. We also can them closed class word because we cannot add new lexical morphem to a language. In functional morphem, this is determined like as the, a or an, or auxiliary is can, could, connectors is an, or, pronouns is I, me, he, she, it, subconjunction is while, because, prep is in or of, intercipher is very to. For example, is but, when, near, above, in, the, that, them, if. Okay, they are is the example of functional morphemes. Next is bone morphem. Bone morphem decided to. This is derivational morphem and inflectional morphem. So definition of derivational morphem is that bone morphem are used to produce noun lexical word from the existing ones and can be both prefix and suffix. There is the change of meaning because this is the change of lexical category. Another definition is a derivational morphem is an affix a group of letters added before the beginning prefix or after the end suffix of a root or base word to create a new word or a new form of an existing word. And derivational morphemes is morphem that transform word into different grammatical categories from the root word free morphemes. These morphem transform words into different parts of speech in order to identify a derivational morphem. Ask yourself this question: if this morphem was added, would it change the part of speech of this word? If the answer is yes, that you have a derivational morphemes. Example of derivational morphemes is full, nurse, less, ly, is, and man. Sentence example is kidness. Kid is adjective and collaboration is kidness is noun. Next is inflectional morphem. Inflectional morphem used to signal grammatical function of a word. Not to produce new word in a language, they are only found suffix and there is no change or meaning of lexical category. These morphem always come after the derivational morphems. An inflectional morphem is a suffix that's added to a word, a noun, verb, adjective, or a adverb. So assign a particular grammatical property to that word, such as its sentence, number, possession, comparison. Inflectional morphem in English include the bone morphems s or s, or s, r, and ing. For example, is s, third person singular. See example sentence is she waits at home. So as in the example is cannot possession in conjunction with an apostrophe in the proper place, can make count noun plural, or can put a verb in the third person singular tense. And in another is add past tense. For example, is he waited at home? And the next is ing, progressive. Example is she is eating the donuts. Next is an, en. Past part is, for example, Mary has eaten the donut. And another example is s for a plural. Example is she ate the donuts. As possessive is Dita's hair is short. And etc. The next is the material, the difference between derivational morphemes and inflectional morpheme. There is derivational morpheme. The one is derivational morpheme derive a new word by being attached to root morphemes or stems. 2. They can be both suffix and prefix in English. 3 is change of meaning. And the inflectional morphemes. 1 is inflectional morpheme give grammatical information such as number, plural, tense, possession, and so on. 2. They are only found in suffix in English. 3 is no change of meaning. Okay, that was an explanation about morphology and morphemes definition. Maybe enough from me, and if I realize that I can avoid the mistake, so I apologize to you all. And I don't forget to say thanks so much for nice attention. If you found very many mistakes in my speech, please forgive me. The last I say wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.